Oh, it's Dame. I wasn't going to do a video today, Dame at Dame's Place, on YouTube and Instagram, Time Bend 2025, because we are in a time bend, my friends. I thought I would say a couple things. Like sometimes my posts are a little harsh. Look at these little, I was showing you, I was hoping some of these little, are they like flying ants or what on here? Anyway, so I come outside to regulate myself and try to not talk too loud because my husband's like, the neighbors don't need to hear. He's absolutely right. So hopefully I'm talking low. Okay, when I'm going to go back to how some of these things came about with me doing research, as many Americans did during 2020. They were home and you're looking around. I had family that was going to visit my Uncle Tom's grave, and he when I went to find out exactly where it was in the Bath, New York VA, he was not found there. This funeral director was convicted. He went to prison. I filed a petition to keep him in longer. I didn't know he had done it to me. He had been caught, and they put it off because of 2020 and the things that happened there in that time period, his sentencing or his actually serving the sentence. So he ended up going in and maybe around that time, 2021 or something, even though the case started in, I think, about 2018, something like that. But for all those years, my husband knew. He thought that, but he didn't want to say it because he thought, oh, I was friends with this kid in school, and, it wouldn't be that. But he's related to everybody's related. So in that time when I'm doing that research, and I called, if you look at earlier videos I talk about, I found out all this beautiful information, through my family stealing that box of pictures, bonds, deeds, records of my family. That was mine from my grandfather Cahoon. Those people, the Knesnes, Pixleys, Marietta, all them, they're not, they didn't need my family history. They had some there of our common grand ancestor, which is Anthony Horst. He was the policeman in Batavia. You can Google his name. I've posted lots and lots on him. He had a really rough time. The Black Hand was there. The Masons. Was he a Mason? Was he not a Mason? Did he fight the Mason? All of it. These are the 1919 was when he stopped doing it. He started in 1890, but they said in his obituary he died of a broken heart. And he did. And he had tried to do so much for people. He loved people. He was German, and he came under a lot of racism at the time before World War I. There was a very high anti-German sentiment. And of course, that's a take back. They burned his father's boarding house to the ground that helped veterans, and they called them hobos back in the day, but they went up and down the railroad because they had a lot to do with the railroad and building the railroad in Batavia and for all over Central New York Rail. I remember being said to that warden saying to me, what would I do? Leave her? She's not like she has railroad money. Looked at me to see if I got the connection, and then said she just got Ma Bell money. So that was, where I worked. So people knew all around me that my family had a lot to do with the railroad and was there railroad money that they settled in this estate in 2022. I don't know. I can't be sure. You need a lawyer for all that. And I never even, to my own fault, when you look at yourself, I didn't get a lawyer when my father died and say there was an estate. The tools he had in his house were probably worth $250,000. He did gunsmithing. He used gold. He did furniture refinishing, lots of stuff. So I didn't do any of that. You live in trauma kind of at the time, and you're trying to fight that, and you don't do everything you could to protect your assets. So I did not. But you can. And you write it down and go back the next day. When something seems off and you're living in this traumatic time, write it down and go back. Watch the gaslight. Watch how they change the words. Watch how they reframe the conversation, how they reframe your reaction. That's all mental mind games, and they can do that from the top on down. And it's the perception of others. They can set up the perception of you through others. You're crazy, you're upset, you're, this woman. None of those things are true in my case. I never was. You couldn't find a person more common just trying to ride it out and save my daughter. But did I react in ways I shouldn't have? Yeah, plenty, because you're kind of spun out on that, and everybody that acts like that they're a friend, come to find out, two shades over, man, they've been against you the whole time. They've been plotting, planning, doing everything they could to keep you jacked off so you don't put the pieces together. But you will if you write it down. And I kept notes all the time. I worked at the prison. I knew things were off and people were lying and stuff, changing my passwords, changing the swap paperwork to be opposite. I told you earlier in an earlier video about the guards and doing their work. Oh, I watered this morning, babe.
I know. I'm just going to get my things down there.
Oh, all right. I was trying to spread. He's got to go way down there. So he's out here now. I will, that's a good place to stop off. We're probably at about, we're at 5 minutes. All right. There he goes. Sorry. It's no worries. Oregon Diecast. What time you on today? We'll do a little advert for you.
3 o'clock.
Okay. Put a little thing on. What do you got going on?
Live mail call and a live edition of my Carfax.
Oh, Carfax. Fax. That's a new one. That's going to be great. Is that, what car is that? The Jag?
No, I'm going to do the coffin coach.
Ah, okay. So he changed. I was going to do a post on the Jag. That was it. So if I didn't ask, I would have put that Jag post up.
I'm just doing it on what the mail call is.
Right. Remember the Jag though? Yeah. So he was going to do that, and I was keeping it a surprise to drop that bomb on you guys before 3 o'clock with all the deets, but I'm glad I didn't. But I would have looked like I didn't know what I was talking about. So I'm glad I asked. Glad he came out here to water his babies. And I will go in the house, get cleaned up, and think of a way to tie that in with how the Mormons helped me with my uncle, because he looks just like Reynolds Cahoon. And they let me come in the temple. They helped me with my ancestry, which goes up both lines of my family, but not everybody. I don't know half of my things. But it is that those lines of people at Rosalind Chapel and the Timothy Wallace interviews that you'll see attached to my channel. And when you think that people don't know, yes, they do. Those lines of people know who everybody is. Now we can all go on family search or ancestry. But before, a long time ago, you didn't have those options. It wasn't open to everybody. You had to pay a lot of money for your ancestry and to find things out. So how would you know who you were? How would you know what you had? How would you know who's connected to who? Those things are hidden from us, and it's quite an erasure, and it's happening right now. So I'm going to go find some things that I can show you that might help you see what I'm saying. And in the meantime, you have a beautiful day. Get outside, get some sun, listen to the birds, get on a higher frequency, baby. All right, peace out, and Mr. ODR will see you at 3.